psychedelic point of view. Neville Goddard narrates your new hallucinated reality. Welcome, everyone, to the simulation frequency. On today's very special meditation, I'm going to discuss briefly what this is going to do for the neurons in your brain, what we're trying to achieve with this meditation, and how the uniqueness of it is intended to help you grow those dendrites so you can maneuver in the simulation much easier, so life becomes exactly the dream you want it to be. This is a newer series, so I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here, the purpose, and not to scare anybody. You can jump to the meditation if you don't care about any of these disclosures and or potential warnings. I'll leave a timestamp down in the description. So with this series, it is a point of view series that I'm going to start creating psychedelic experiences with different people throughout time. So I'm going to be working with ChatGPT and my own knowledge to create narrations and story times through these meditations, which is one of the ways your brain works best. I will also be introducing ASMR. And when you think about these meditations that I'm going to be creating, they are pulling from so many different worlds at this point. It is pulling from quantum science, it is pulling from biology, it is pulling from ancient esoteric practices, it is pulling from New Age, it is pulling from all different kinds of areas, including neuroscience and what I like to also call pseudoscience. For me, it's all a different way to be able to expand our consciousness and grow what we are able to see. So we are bringing the unseen to the seen. That's what manifestation really is. And it's almost become a cringy word at this point. But what we're trying to do is reality shift. The point of my channel isn't to necessarily just manifest stars or lottos. That is a definite fun feature of the simulation, but the content that I want to dive deeper in, because it really is interesting me and it's really sending me in this direction, is the fact that we can do more superhuman things if you just concentrate and focus on them with the correct things. You can hone in and grow those specific dendrites to create those synapses to make the communications in your brain stronger. Therefore, I believe sending that consciousness signal back and forth to the simulation and allowing you to see more than you've been programmed to see. Many of us have not grown up with the idea that we could fall asleep on a book and understand its inside. For example, Edward Case would fall asleep with a book underneath his pillow and we'd be able to absorb the information. And when I first heard about this, I could not wrap my brain about how he was doing this. But basically, I think that when he was falling asleep and going into dreamland and had these books, he was convincing his subconscious and growing the dendrites and hypnotizing himself into believing that he could potentially pick up objects and understand them or know them or understand some sort of history. He grew them to be able to accomplish these things. So if we use these specific tools that we are about to dive into in this meditation, you could unlock a variety of things that could potentially have you doing extraordinary feats in the simulation. And there was other pioneers in this, like, for example, Bert Goldman, he said that he would go in and pull information from consciousness from different individuals. So I think that's sort of in alignment with this. But I think from a neurological perspective, we are actually growing dendrites and strengthening those communications every time we do something like this. So the more and more we practice it, we are able to access that are seen as now currently otherworldly should be now grounded in what we consider practicality. And at first, this will cause cognitive dissonance because we are so conditioned and used to thinking that this is insane, it is pseudoscience, this is nuts. But the more you research it, the more you cannot deny it. Just because everybody cannot duplicate it doesn't mean that it isn't true. Just haven't grown the neurons and created the dendritic branches to create the synapses to have the connections in their brain, make those things come seen in the simulation, to interact with the simulation, and then have those specific things arise and be an experimental piece of evidence for you. So I think the more we start to do this and the more we start to practice these things at large, we will grow the consciousness as well, and this will start to become mainstream. So you can learn things like remote perception and viewing. You can have hyperlearning where you can instantly pattern recognize you are a super smart human or avatar. You can start to learn how to have emotional alchemy if you're somebody that has trouble regulating your emotions or dealing with things, or you spiral or fly off the handle. I understand what that feels like. You can learn to stop that, and you can learn to emotions be a modality of alchemy. That's when they talk about transmutation. And then you can have some sort of aura reading capabilities or just reality mirroring. Everybody talks about staring at yourself in the mirror. Is the mirror a quantum portal to the consciousness to where you can talk to what you want into consciousness, and then your mirror neurons activate because you're essentially creating like a sensory experience with yourself and then tripping yourself out psychedelically with the mirror and then convincing yourself hypnotically that you are whatever it is that you say you are. How about lucid dreaming? That could be a whole program in and of itself. If you train yourself, you can train yourself to lucid dream. And then furthermore, I believe that you can train yourself to lucid dream and then in the lucid dream create instances that will then shift you in your actual waking walking dream to where you're able to have those scenarios play out in this specific 3D reality. And then you can self-heal. This is where Joe D is very heavy into. He has meditations that are sort of like this, but I'm going a step further. I'm digging in deeper as to why this actually is working. The psychedelic perspective and what that's doing for us, creating the novel experiences. That's why I want to create meditations that are not just one kaleidoscope. It needs to be escape, a moving thing that is shifting just like it would during something like a DMT trip. By no means during this warning and disclosure am I saying that you should use any type of hallucinogens. I'm saying that you don't need to, that we can do these things and you can achieve the same level of ahas or awakenings or those levels of understandings that people are quote unquote getting during Kundalini awakenings, during special meditations. No, you can do this every day on your own. You can practice it. It doesn't have to be this insane thing where it's unachievable. You can start to use these to entrain your mind on a longer term basis to have the things in this dream reality go the way you intend the dream to go. And of course, we can argue about free will, that you are emoting everything that you want because it's just information being sent back to the Godhead. And this is kind of that same vein of this is an experiment and this is meant to expand your consciousness. And I would appreciate if you leave in the comments if you practice with any of this, and then you start to be able to utilize whatever it is that you're using this to focus with. You could learn things like symbolic telepathy or electromagnetic manipulation, moving balls and tipping things off tables. We can all learn to do this with some focused quantum concentration and using scenes in those specific hallucinations where you may be doing that or you're focusing on that activity while staring at these different hallucinations, being walked through the process from people that you really enjoy. And of course, I'm not going to be an AI replicated model of any of these point of views. It's going to be me. So you should be imagining that it is that actual person communicating these things to you, so you fall deeply into the hypnotic trance to grow the dendrites in coordination, in alignment with the reality that you're wanting to see. If you want to be clairvoyant, you would practice that during this time, and then you would start to see your simulation shift, and then you will start experiencing everything that you want because you've grown the new pathways, and you are going to start acting in that way because you are practicing imaginal scenes in your mind during these different shape-shifting movements. It is a practice thing too. You can stare off to the side, you can gaze at it, you can try to pick a point. There's different ways, but once you start doing it, you can just visualize yourself doing whatever it is. If you want to be trying to understand the future, or if you want to be trying to revisit things in the past, whatever it is that you are trying to do, you just focus on it. And then I wouldn't say heightened emotion, but emotions that feel connected with what you're doing, that it feels real to you, like Neville would say. And that's what we're going to practice in this first POV. The subsequent POVs will be trying to hone in and practice different modalities in the sim to be able to help us shift and continue to learn and expand. So we learn these new things, and it can be not just learning to manifest a car or $10,000. You can learn to manifest so many other things with the power of focus, awareness, and imagination, like Neville would say. So without further ado, let's jump right into this meditation. Focus on your awareness, beloved, and breathe deeply. For you are not in the world is in you. You are consciousness itself, pure imagination. You are not your body. You are not your past. You are the dreamer of the dream. And tonight, we enter the sacred silence of your own wonderful human imagination. Everything you see is but a projection, a code, a simulation generated by the electrical impulses of your own mind. You are the programmer, the divine scriptwriter. Now, imagine a golden neuron blooming in your mind. This neuron is your desire. It's alive, real, not in the future, not someday, but now. It is yours. Feel it, walk in it, touch it, smell it. What would you feel if it were true? That feeling bridge into the new timeline. You are not waiting for the manifestation. You are just remembering it. You have it now. 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 Let the neurons fire together now. Each time you feel the state of the wish fulfilled, you awaken new circuits. You build the architecture of your reality. You are being within a simulation of consciousness, and imagination is your master key. Assume the state, and the simulation reconfigures. Dare to believe that you are what you desire to be, and the neurons will grow in accordance with your belief. It is done. It is yours. Rest in knowing that it is done. It is yours. Rest in knowing that. Now, gently return. As the one who already has what they once desired. The seed is planted. The new timeline is planted. The new timeline